through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? It's a Transformers Slag Podcast Saturday night live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto-Man, who's a little tired today and hair's a little messed up, has some hat hair from being outside in the cold all day. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday. It is Saturday, and we are going to talk about the robots in disguise, take some super chats from the fans, and just relax and enjoy the rest of the week in the world of Transformers. How we all doing? Who do we got here today? Let's see if some Patreon people and YouTube members, the green names. We got Aces on Eyes on the Ace. We got Patrick Brown. We got Timmy K. Poindexter Esquire. We got T-Formers 2002. David Cabal. What's up, David? Mike Rosen. We got Horned Owl Oscars here. I believe I saw my patron Jacques. He's here too. Jacques P is here. Mike Rosen. Billy B, one of the longest patrons. One of them. Ashnud is here. Got the comics, Ashnud. Great stuff. Prince at Phalanx 59. Roman. I hope I didn't miss nobody. Everyone's popping in now. Oscar's here. How we all doing? So we're going to be covering the news. Quite a bit of interesting stuff to discuss here today. I know a lot of people are probably going to be asking me a bunch of questions too. A lot of the stuff that I reported this week ended up getting into all the different message boards and discussions and stuff and going like, Proto-Man doesn't know what he's talking about and everything. Guys, let me tell you something, okay? You know who I talk to, all right? I don't have to give away my sources, but you guys know who I talk to, and I know what's going on on the inside, as well as some good retail friends that are a little up on the food chain. But regardless of the fact, we're going to cover all of that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have their own questions and their own opinions about what's been going on. So we're going to cover the news. We're going to recover more or less this and that with some updates. And we're just going to relax and enjoy the rest of the evening of Transformers. I just want to remind at the top of the show, and I'll try to remind again at the bottom, next week, next Saturday, I will not be doing a live stream. I have a convention that I'm running locally here in Montreal, Video Game Expo. I will probably be busy doing Saturday evening, Saturday night setup going into the Sunday. So Aaron Archer will probably be doing a Saturday night segment on the Toy Armada. So again, if you haven't been subscribing to that channel, please do. It's the Toy Armada and Aaron Archer. Me and Aaron talk about toys and stuff all the time. So go subscribe to that channel. He'll probably be filling in for me Saturday night for that. And Aaron always has great stuff to talk about. He knows more than I do about the industry. He's been there. And it is what it is. So I'll remind again later on and everything. But if you're in the Montreal area, come to High Score Con and check out the Video Game Expo. But it is what it is. So let's jump into it. We're going to cover some news, and then we'll take super chats from everybody, talk about some little things that I picked up today in my toy travels. Not much, nothing too special, but everyone likes to see the cool stuff that I find. All the little $1 and $2 items. Save money on your hobby. That's what I always say. But let's jump into it. We're going to start with, and speaking of a great price, Free Comic Book Day. We've been talking about this for many years now on the podcast. One of my favorite days out of the year. And Free Comic Book Day, they announced finally 100% what will be Transformer related that will be available on Free Comic Book Day. Again, Free Comic Book Day is always the first Saturday in May. And in this case, it's going to be May 4th, 2024. If you go to your local comic book store that is participating, you will be able to pick up a free issue of Transformers Energon Universe 2024 special. It's going to be an exclusive cover for this version, as well as, actually, this is interesting, it's going to be breaking the street date of the actual book. The actual book itself is supposed to come out May 8th, the retail version, but the free comic book version is going to be coming out May 4th, so you actually get to read it before the rest of the globe who are pretty much subscribing to it. There's going to be 5 different covers. Free Comic Book Day cover is going to be one of them, so go check it out. What I always say, guys, this is what I always do, is when I go to Free Comic Book Day, I always try to also support the local comic book stores. Take a few books, but buy a few stuff too. Usually they have action figures. They might also have comic books, back issues, whatever they got. Put some money back into your local comic book store that keep the community alive. And check it out, yo. Again, if you're curious if you have some local comic book store in your area participating, if you go to freecomicbookday.com, they actually have a store locator which works for all over the globe. And you just pretty much put in your postal code and they'll let you know what is going to be close by that is participating. Sometimes it's small little local comic book shop. Sometimes it's a mom and pop store. So go check that out. I love Free Comic Book Day. Can't sing its praises enough. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So yeah, check that out. Pre-order dropped. This is the exciting one. Transformers Masterpiece MPG-08 Trainbot Yamabuki. The pre-order dropped on Tuesday that just passed, so now you have another option to pick this up if you want to. Although if you actually look at the bottom there, not available to ship in Quebec, Canada. Oh, how I love my French. That ruins everything for us. It is what it is. But because there's going to be sadly because there's no French on the instructions and the packaging, that makes it poison in my crazy province, but that's a whole other discussion for another time. But yeah, hey, if you're anywhere else, $160, that's pretty much on par with what the yen exchange is for this. And considering that Premium Plus Hasbro Pulse members get free shipping, I believe it's over $75. Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong. You get pretty much free shipping on this. You pick that up with the Geno that's also still in stock, and you could get yourself a Shinden Diaclone catalog combiner. It's great stuff. Again, this is all going to be shipping out January 26, 2025, so you're still going to have to wait a little bit. But yeah, great stuff. Very excited that they're making big strides at Hasbro Pulse, that if Japanese masterpieces come out, even the more obscure ones, that everyone gets an affordable opportunity to get it. You know, the big thing that a lot of people were bothered by is when masterpieces left retail. You know, when Toys R Us kind of went under, in at least in the United States, that kind of was it for masterpiece outside of movie masterpieces with Target. And it's nice that at least, you know, there's some way that we could get it that doesn't involve, you know, using an importer website or, you know, which usually sometimes have a markup in terms of price and you have to pay for shipping. This is something you get it literally at almost the same yen currency exchange, free shipping if you're a Premium Plus member. That's fantastic. Great stuff. Sing the praises of it. When Hasbro messes up, and you know we'll talk about that later. When Hasbro messes up, I'll point it out, but when Hasbro does good, I will point it out too. So this is fantastic, cool stuff. We also have a mysterious pre-order. You could take from that what you will. So this one is going to be Transformer Tuesday coming up. Tuesday, February 20th, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
No matter the
members get free shipping regardless of price. Thank you, T-Formers 2002. See, that's the problem. Because I'm from Quebec, I don't get to enjoy that. So I don't know. If I lived anywhere else, I'd be taking advantage of that every freaking time. But so we have another pre-order that's going to be on Transformer Tuesday. Now, I can't confirm if this is a Transformer product because last week we had the Deadpool product that also happened on Transformer Tuesday. But it says here we can't tell you about this what this returning item is. But we're told that it's going to be absolutely huge. So maybe a return of a pre-order of a Titan class. Maybe it's Galactus from Marvel stuff. I don't know. And a massive force to be reckoned with. You know, massive. I don't know. Again, take from that what you will. This could be a Transformer product. This could be a surprise Transformer Tuesday product pre-order. This could be a reveal. We don't know, but again, on the 20th, Transformer Tuesday, we will be seeing something. And then the week after that, on the 27th, we will have the Autobot 5-pack that is confirmed will be dropping on pre-order. Tuesday is a Marvel fan stream. Well, there you go. Thank you, Mr. Bumblebot. So it might be Galactus then, probably. So that's a strong possibility. But again, just make note of it. You never know. You never know. Might be something. I just wanted to bring it up with an asterisk that you know, that would be good if it was Transformer related. But speaking of also big, expensive, and crazy, it also was the theme of today. We are currently right now at almost 14,000 backers. It might be at 14,000 backers right now. I made this slide about an hour ago, but we're almost at 14,000 backers. And that means that we have unlocked at least the first tier of the HasLab Omega Prime Goddo Convoy. We have the Matrix Blade, aka the Omega Blade, aka the Sword of Primus, aka the Goddo Sword. One of many names, one of many translations. And this has now been unlocked, so that's pretty good. And if we're almost at 14, that means we're not too far away, only 2,000 away from the unlockable tier 2 at 16,000 backers for the Cybertron Net, aka the Global Space Bridge. So that's pretty hype too. The question is, and I've said this in nauseum at this point, and I'll say it again, and I apologize. What is tier 3 that they are secretly hiding? We've already had it with Star Saber, Victory Saber. We already had it with Deathsaurus. It's going to be the clincher. It's going to be the big one. It's going to be the turning point for a lot of people. Because if we get some Spy Changers or an Aichan figure, or maybe even something off the wall, who knows, maybe a cool repaint. Maybe they're going to take that Shadow Striker and do it into Speedbreaker and call it an end of the day and make it a HasLab item, which would be, I think would be silly, personally. I think that wouldn't be a wise move, but we will see. We will see what they do. Very curious to see what the tier 3 will be, because tier 2 is a given. It's good, it is what it is. So let me know what you think about that. This one I talked about just not too long ago, and it's the Hot Wheels drop. Again, what you're looking at, some people were kind of confused by what I was talking about, and I was seeing, some of the comments, and they didn't really understand. So the thing with Hot Wheels is, like, I only have like a mini one near me, the little hot rod inspired one there. But the thing with Hot Wheels is, they are like the kings of repaints. And they always, like, when you see a code and it says the name of a car or something, it's literally a car that's waiting to happen. Like the top left there, the 1932 Ford, that's listed on the Transformer case assortment. Then you got the Morris Mini there in the middle, the 60s Fiat 500D, the 1967 Austin minivan, and of course the one which is going to be pretty obvious what that's going to be repainted to, the Volkswagen Classic Bug. You're literally looking at the molds right now before they get Transformer painted. The problem is you're looking at these molds and you're going, what the F could most of these be turned into outside of the Volkswagen? And it's, as I feared, it's probably going to be the pop culture repaints, which are, they take, the example that I gave in my segment. Take a bread delivery truck from the 1970s and paint Black Widow in Jack Kirby Marvel on the side of it with her emblem and some Marvel printing and call it a day. What does Black Widow have to do with a 1970 bread delivery truck? Absolutely nothing. But a bread delivery truck has a nice, flat side that's good for putting a logo or a piece of art. And a lot of these vehicles that they chose here, a lot of them being European in origin, oddly enough, with the exception of the Ford, have nice flat surfaces on the side that they could put logos. That they could put, like, sad to say, the Bumblebee one, this Volkswagen, is probably going to have, like, it's going to be yellow, it's going to have Bumblebee, but then they'll probably put Bumblebee's face on the side of the vehicle, maybe a huge Autobot logo on the roof. Who knows? But it'd be nice if they did something that was more Generation 1 inspired. But at the same time, I really feel that that's probably what they're going to do. If you go into the Hot Wheels toy aisle right now, it's a lot of that, you know? So it's pretty much a shame that that's probably going to be what it is. Maybe they'll do something better later on, but this is kind of what the Mattel Hasbro merge of ideas is right now. Cringe McCringle, what's up? Because you're sick, you're not at work. Well, I guess it works out in the end. I guess it works out in the end. But yeah, it is what it is with the Hot Wheels stuff. I mean, maybe it'll come out really nice, but I mean, just look at them. Like, which one's going to be the one that's going to be, painted like Optimus Prime with an Optimus Prime face on the side of it or something? Which one's going to be Jazz or Megatron or Starscream? It's none of these scream that, but unfortunately, these are the molds. Like the confirmation is 24 per case, which is pretty standard for Hot Wheels cases. This is called the Transformers Mix case. So if you ever see it in the wild, because the case assortments that are out there, it'll be called the Transformers Mix. 24 per case. 5 of each except the Volkswagen. The Volkswagen's going to be 4 per case, so no surprise, the one that probably makes the most sense is also going to be short packed. And knowing the Hot Wheels scalpers, oh boy, get ready for that world. Let me tell you something, just to kind of go on a sidebar. Ever since like 2001, 2002, a buddy of mine, we used to kind of like, we would call each other up and go, hey, do you want to like meet at Toys R Us like early in the morning and we'll just do some shopping and then hit all the stores? They'd be like, yeah, sure. So we would like literally go just before Toys R Us was open. And we didn't go to like, oh, we want to get the items first. We would just hit the Toys R Us. And then there was a local, mom and pop action figure store that was nearby called Legends back in the day, and all of that. And every time we would go there, we'd always see like 5 or 6 middle-aged guys like chilling outside the Toys R Us. And we're like, wow, like these guys, we thought they were employees or something, but they'd be in like flip-flops and, t-shirt and shorts and a baseball cap. We're like, they're clearly not here to work. And the second the door would open, they'd all like blitz. And we're like, whoa, where are they going? Do they know something we don't? And they'd start going through all the Hot Wheels, looking for that treasure hunt, treasure hunt, treasure hunt. And those guys are crazy. So if we're gonna have to compete with those guys, I don't know. We're gonna probably have a hell of a time trying to get a Bumblebee if it's 4 per case, but we'll see what happens. I'm not trying to instill fear, but I've seen it many times with my own eyes, and those men are crazy. Those men are nuts. You know, I know there's Transformer scalpers out there. I doubt they're waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning to bum rush, the pegs. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, guys, just that little take on that. And the last thing, and here's the big controversial one, and it's the Hasbro Q4, 2023 report. There's a lot with that one to go through. There was a lot of people that were unhappy with the things that I said. And the one problem is, and I keep trying to tell people this, if you like something and it doesn't do well, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't like the thing that you like. I love Transformers Rise of the Beast. I liked the movie, it's great and everything. And I could also say that it didn't do well. There is a way to do that. I know some of you people, you like to warp your reality and go, well, if you hate something, then it's obviously that means you also wish for it not to do well. No, that's not how that works. I don't care for My Little Pony, but I don't care one way or another if it does well or not. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't move my life. And I love Rise of the Beasts, but it didn't do well. And people were kind of interpreting, oh, it's because you don't like those things. Like, no, look behind you. Do I not like Transformers? Come on. So it's something where there was a lot of feel bads in a lot of ways with people. They didn't like the information. I can't give 100% where I get this stuff. I have friends in retail. Some of them are in this chat right now, and I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to get them in trouble. But they could even speak for it that there's been a lot of product that's been going on clearance, very specific product, and it's just not been looking good. Some stuff has been looking really good. Some stuff has been looking really bad. And I have a very close friend that I grew up with that's a big head manager at Toys R Us. He keeps me schooled all the time on what's going on. And then I have people in the States that work at retail, and it's all kind of congealing in the same way. Proto is Team Anti-Pony. You know what? There's actually some great footage that Vangelis has when I was running a show, and I was selling a whole bunch of My Little Ponies, and I actually had to educate myself on My Little Pony because if I'm going to sell something, I got to know what it is. Look up 1986 Whizzer Twinkle Eye Pony from long story. Anyways, the point is that, you know, you guys, you have to separate, just because you really love something, you get angry when it doesn't do well. You have to accept that sometimes that's just the case, and certain items don't do well. Hasbro's has been having a lot of weird things over the past couple of months. I mean, they've been in the news for all kinds of different things. I don't want to go deep into the weeds on it in all honesty. Um, a lot of people deserve their privacy and they don't need to have their dirty laundry out there. So I'm not going to go into that, but I will say that there's, look, it's sad corporate stuff at the end of the day. And for them to say that 2024 also isn't looking very good is sad. But the thing that I have to remind you people, and this is very important with our hobby, everything else at Hasbro might be at risk. If you really like Marvel Legends or Power Rangers or My Little Pony or any of those others, those might be at risk. But Transformers is so effing bulletproof, you have no idea. There has been times where Hasbro was in bad situations, stock-wise, Transformers wasn't their focus, and there was this other beautiful company on the other side of the globe that would always pick up the slack. And if Hasbro's at its worst, Takara will pick it up. Takara will slide in and go, "Hey, you know, we'll just make an anime and a Japanese exclusive only series." And look, we already are used to living in a world where we're importing stuff online and buying from stores. How would it be any different? Yeah, it would suck because then, the people aren't able to buy in retail and they can't buy online. That would kind of hurt it. But at the end of the day, man, Cringe McCringle, the only reason my store, and Cringe, by the way, works at Target, but we all know that. The only reason my store got me Rise of the Beast and Earthspark product was because someone committed arson in our store. Jeez. Someone tried to burn down. Did they try to burn down the toy section or just in general? You know? Or was he like a real genius and he tried to burn down like the fish section or something? Wow, that is crazy. Cringe. Is that true? Oh my goodness. America. Love you guys. I love you guys. Tried to burn down a Target. Oh my goodness. That's great. But yeah, no, look, like I said before, we have a lot of people that are in the chat that are in retail. We have a lot of people in the chat that are Hasbro people. And there was two products, unfortunately, that didn't move the needle as much as they had hoped. And then like when you look even at the entertainment sector of Transformers, when we talk, again, I wish I brought those slides up again, but the entertainment sector, what were the two big entertainment properties for Transformers? It was Rise of the Beast and Earthspark, and both of them, they're just not, they're not pulling their weight. Rise of the Beast barely broke even, that's a loss. That's an Allspark Productions and all that Hasbro, internal loss. What's up, Aaron? Speak of the devil. How you doing, brother? Princess Phalanx 59. Did you see Transformers Autobots versus Decepticon wall clock? Yes, actually, Mikey and Louie showed it to me. It looks really cool. I might as well say what I was talking about with Mikey and Louie about it. That's a limited production item. So that's something that I'm not going to speculate it's going to go up in value or something, but that's something that with the Brantford Exchange, if you don't pick that up, there's going to be a very small population of it in the future. And I'm not saying like, people start investing in a wall clock of Transformers. I'm just saying that if it's something that interests you and you don't get it, and then later on you change your mind, there's going to be a small population of that. So a lot of that is made to order. It's very interesting, and it looks cool. Looks cool. It doesn't speak to me personally because I don't need a wall clock. I was never a watch person either. So, but it is cool though. I dig it. I'm pretty sure. You know what? If it had Hot Rod on it, I would have probably maybe thought twice. So I'm guilty of that too. It doesn't really have like the characters that speak to my soul, but at the same time, I think it's pretty awesome. And the Brantford Exchange part of it is an interesting wrinkle too. Kaz with the $5 super chat. Omega Prime is is a HasLab only because it is guaranteed success. Well, I mean, the other ones I wouldn't call guaranteed success. Ironic since HasLabs are billed as risky items and otherwise impossible for retail. You know what? I think that there probably was a lot of decisions that went into Omega Prime. I don't want to go into like conspiracy stuff, but I'm pretty sure that they were aware of their lower sales. Like when we got the low Q3 sales that they had in 2023, I'm pretty sure they knew that back in Q1 and Q2 and Q1. And I think that stuff really had to be pivoted for planning. Now, granted, how early do they plan a HasLab item? How early do they put it into development and make those decisions and put the stamp that this is going to be the item that they show off? That's debatable. But, that's where the conspiracy side of me kind of goes like, like I think that it being it being a surefire item that is marked up a 40 extra dollars than what would have been retail and moving a lot of units, I think that it'll help them a little bit, but I mean, look, there was failed HasLab stuff too that probably hurt them that wasn't Transformer related. So you pick up the slack in other areas, like anything in life, in a lot of ways. Thank you for the super chat, Kaz. The twins, what's up, twins? What's up? What's up? Can't wait to see you guys in Toronto. That's coming very quick, eh? That's coming faster than you think. Speaking of stuff not doing good, how's the Beast Wars reissue line? Oh, brother, yeah. Any news on the Tarantulas and Iguanas release? See, that's the problem. Like those were stuff that just didn't do well. Like every single Beast Wars reissue went on clearance. And it's not to say Beast Wars toys suck. It's not to say that, like those toys aren't good. It was number one, the prices didn't match the market's demand. Those reissues came out, the big V happened. Some people didn't have money for that kind of stuff. And it just kind of was a domino effect of things where it's like, are you going to pay deluxe price point for Cheetor, but then pay that same deluxe price point for Rat Trap, for Pterosaur? Hey, Retrax, historically voted one of the worst Transformers ever made. Let's make a reissue of them. Wow. Like a very interesting choice to do Retrax, and he had less paint and parts. I mean, you could go back to my old videos and I compare the reissues to the originals. Some are actually worth it because they're cheaper than buying them in the secondary market. Some are not worth it. I would go to TF cons for years and like complete pterosaurs were still like $15. And it's just because of that stupid gun he's always missing. But they were $15. Now you're buying it at like what, 27, and he has less paint on his forearms. So it was just like, I don't know. It was a bad item. It was a bad item from the get-go, like a bad kind of planning. And they kind of, even like the G1 reissues, those were kind of hitting clearance in different areas. I know that just before they started doing the new G1 reissues with the more accurate colors and stuff, that blaster was like one of the very last ones, and that went on like mega clearance at $10 a piece when it was originally, I believe, $39.99. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and that kind of also added to it. And here's the thing. I think Beast Wars is one of the greatest Transformer series of all time. And those reissues sold terrible. So I could say I love something and then be honest of the reality of it selling well, and anyone who has to be I have to love it and I also have to say that it's doing great, you're delusional, like so many people, you know. You got to be able to separate your emotions from it, from the reality of what's happening. So many people get so heated when, like, oh, Earthspark didn't do well. No, screw you, man. Screw you. Earthspark's the greatest thing ever. It is the greatest Transformer series of all time. Okay there, buddy. Whatever moves your boat, but let's be real. It's not doing well. If it makes it to season 3, well, let's just say I didn't tell you so. Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't miss any questions because we got some green name ones too. I also have to finish some of the other stuff here too. I got that. And I was wondering if the HasLab being an Optimus main character is Hasbro continuing us with the fans as a poll. Well, Fire Convoy was on fan polls from Japan, but for Masterpiece for the longest time. But Eyes on Ace, my conspiracy theory is those who shall not be named are allowed by Hasbro to do their shady practices because they are getting money regardless of who shows the product. Or now that's a whole different story. That has a lot to do with legal. I've talked with marketing. Actually, I believe I don't want to say his name, but he's in the chat here today. Also talked with marketing, and they said, look, they just can't. They just can't. Dude's on the other side of the globe. There's a whole bunch of other stuff involved with that. They can't stop him for the time being. He'd have to come on the soil pretty much. Anyways, but yeah, it's kind of rough, guys. It's kind of rough, and it's something where it's, if you're a fan of any other Hasbro stuff, I'd be worried, even like Magic the Gathering stuff. But even though, and Magic the Gathering, like when you read those numbers, it's like greatest selling set of all time in 2023. Yeah, we made -1% in sales. It's like, what? Okay. And that's your greatest selling set of all time. Why isn't Earthspark not doing well? Because it's always going on clearance. Red tag. Keep it up. I'll get the whole line for $5 at this rate. That's why. I don't know why it's not doing well. People don't care. And people say it's because the toys aren't good. I don't know. Cyberverse had terrible toys. The show was great, and that lasted for 3 years. So they kept doing that. So I don't know. I'd have to go deep into the weeds of that one. But at the end of the day, guys, it's something where, like, worst case scenario, Takara will pick it up. Like, that's the thing. If ever we get into a weird place and Hasbro has to, like, license out Transformers or something, we're just gonna, we'll just take a step back and Takara will be like, we'll take it from here. We'll have a Transformer anime, we'll have a Transformer manga. They'll probably do Transformer, steak or sausage. Actually, that probably won't happen, but you know, it'll be cool. It'll be cool. We'll have Kojin Ono and the crew working on some of the figures again. We will see what happens with that, but we'll stay tuned. I'm not saying that is what's happening, but it is something that, if worse come to worse, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, where it's more Marvel Legends and Star Wars and those Disney owned properties that are poisoning, as someone said, even, and I agree with them. I agree. I'll give him a shout out. Dryce Raid. Yeah, Disney is messing up Hasbro completely. And I've said 100 times, I hate Disney. I've never been a Disney kid. I never liked Disney. Disney, I've always felt, if you were a 90s kid, outside of maybe Aladdin and maybe Lion King, it's always been more of a girl kind of property. And I've never been a Disney kid, never wanted to go to Disneyland, always was more of a Universal Studios and, the stuff that they were doing. And the Disney era of Marvel and Star Wars and all of that has made me not want to go see those movies. I had a friend who went to see Madam Web, and I was just like, "What are you doing? Do you hate yourself? And this is why you don't own a house?" Like, you went out to see Madam Web, you bought a popcorn and a drink at the theater. You probably spent $30 to watch a crappy movie, and that company isn't going to help you pay the rent. Disney is laughing when people do that. Don't go see these stupid movies. And if you must see them, Protoman does not suggest that you should be going online to illegal websites and just watching them, downloading them illegally, but I'm just saying, allegedly, go on the pirates army, matey. But that's all I'm saying. I'm going to go support Super Mario, but Madam Web, forget about it. Forget about it. And I like Spider-Woman, the second Spider-Woman, but I'm not going to support that trash, man. I'm not going to support it. Yeah, so it's Sony, but it's Disney. It's all under the Disney. They get all of that. They get their percentage. You know, they get that percentage. It's all part of this. The modern Marvel today is a mess. It's a goddamn mess. All of it across the board. It's all a mess. You don't think, yeah, Sony is the one putting it out there. You don't think Disney is there in the boardroom tapping their thumb on the table, going, well, it has to be like this and this and this. And because that when we were 90s kids, right? And someone would have turned to you and said, you know that old lady that's sitting in the chair there? She's going to have her own movie one day. And we would have been like, really? Really? Before, like, everyone else? Yeah, and that Morbius guy too with the plasma on his hand. Yeah, he's going to have his own movie also, and that's going to work out great. Morbius, Madam Web, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Oh my goodness. What's next? Night Prowler, the movie? Who am I forgetting? We'll have Night Prowler. Electro will get his own movie. Shocker will get his own movie. You know, just keep it coming. Just keep it coming. Let's just burn it all down while we're at it. Thank goodness that I was talking to my buddy David Cabal recently. I said, what's the good thing is that we have over thousands and thousands of Marvel comic books between 1961, even if you want to count the Timely era with Marvel Comics and Captain America, Marvel Comics standalone by Timely and Captain America. But, like, let's say 1961 Fantastic Four and onward, Fantastic Four #1, 1961, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee. You have all those comics between 1961 and today, and let's say until the wheels fell off the wagon, let's say 2015. You have all those comics, thousands of great books, thousands, millions of hours that would take your whole life to read. You don't need to watch these movies. You don't. Go out and buy an old trade. Go support your local comic book store. Go out and buy a trade paperback of 1963's X-Men, or do all new, all different with Chris Claremont, John Barnes. Like there's so much great stuff out there. Don't support this crap. Save your money. Save your money. Because they're not when you're going to be worrying about paying your bills, you think they're going to care? No, they got your Madam Web money. you know? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how bad it is. It's ridiculous how bad it is. You know? Billy B, I have grandkids, so of course I have Disney Plus. I rarely watch it, but like I said, grandkids. Well, it's just how it is. You have to have the tools in the toolbox for the current demo. But you know what, too? At the end of the day, parents are the ones, or grandparents in this case of Billy B, are the ones who also control what's on the television. You know, so that's also a reason why a lot of this isn't doing well. Link CW problem with Marvel is Stan Lee. I don't know about no offense. Stan Lee has nothing to do with Marvel not doing well. Stan hasn't been involved in Marvel on a creative level outside of little things here and there since like the 80s. It's Stan is a figurehead. Stan kind of walked away from writing comic books back in the late 70s, became more of an icon of it. He started working in the Marvel Productions area, trying to get movies off the ground, like a Dazzler movie and a She-Hulk movie back in the 80s. Imagine they were trying to do a She-Hulk movie back in the 80s. What's her name there? Who was Draco's wife in Rocky 4? She was supposed to be She-Hulk in the 80s. There was even a costume test photo that's out there. Google that if you want. There was all bunch of ideas and plans. That's why Human Torch wasn't able to be used in some stuff because they were going to use Human Torch for a standalone movie at one time. There was a whole bunch of movies that ended up becoming made for VHS, like the Captain America movie in 1990 and the Roger, I think it was Roger Corman, the Fantastic Four movie that was in 1988. All really rough stuff, but whole different era. Getting off topic, but just showing my knowledge in the other areas of that stuff and my opinions of them. And I apologize if I'm putting too much on that. But it is what it is. It's gonna be a rough time for Hasbro. And they look, even Hasbro said it themselves. Um, it's gonna be a rough 2024 for them. It does not look like it's going to be a clean slate. And hopefully, Transformers 1 is scheduled for like Q3, Q4 of 2024. I don't think it's going to like change the course of the ship completely, but at least I hope fictionally it'll find an audience. That's all I'm really hoping for. I would really like if at least it finds an audience by it being animation as opposed to live action. Maybe it'll, being animation, unfortunately, I feel it's going to get less views, like it's going to get less interest, but at the same time, hopefully it'll be less budget. Like it won't be as expensive. I think one of the big mistakes they made was bringing in all those Hollywood actors, which are going to keep up the budget. One of the advantages that the Bumblebee movie had was, outside of John Cena, who's not like a huge Hollywood actor anyways, because he was a wrestler before, but outside of John Cena, Haley Steinfeld was kind of more mid to low tier, and a lot of the other actors in the movie were mid to low tier. So they were able to keep the cost of the Bumblebee movie low, and the Bumblebee movie made money. After advertising and everything, it made money. Where unfortunately, Rise of the Beasts, they didn't have a lot of big name actors, but because it was so top ended with everything else, yeah, sorry if I feel like a broken record, but Mike Rosen with the YouTube member super chat question. All the good TV and movie writers work for the trying to say that our beloved San Francisco 49ers didn't win because of planning. Is that it? I thought the 49ers were going to win, me personally. T-Formers 2002, it's coming to 7 months, and we still barely know anything about Transformers 1. Yeah, well, you know what? That was kind of the same with Rise of the Beast, though. I mean, if you go back, like we didn't really get our first trailer until like 6 months before the movie, and then it all started happening fast and furious. So it's kind of the same. At the end of the day, If they show anything to us now, it's not going to make a difference than if they show it later, because the most important audience which is the mainstream audience. If they forget, like if they show us a trailer now and the movie's coming out in like what, September, they're going to forget by like March. By March they're going to be, oh yeah, wasn't there like a animated Transformer movie that was coming out? So that's something where the way I see it is they need to kind of just they need to like it's how I advertise conventions, is they need to constantly be in the face of the mainstream audience constantly and remind them, hey, this is coming. Hey, like almost weekly. And they just don't have the team for that kind of stuff, unfortunately. They don't have the
Megatron
marketing
must be
teams. They're just
stopped,
kind of like, put out a
no
trailer,
matter the
get someone to kind
cost.
of focus on a Facebook group and a Twitter account and an Instagram account, and that's it. They don't have someone that's like actively like every 2 weeks, like in public mainstream media going, hey, Transformers is a thing, pay attention. Hey, this movie's coming, you know? So we'll see. JR Mina, will we get a Sandstorm with tune accurate head color? I think so. I think that it's pretty much sculpted in a way that they're going to have to do another repaint at some point. We got the toy version, but it has the head sculpt that's clearly tune accurate, just not the face. The face is toy accurate. So they'll do the tune accurate version at some point. It'll have the different coloring, because the coloring right now on it really is not tune accurate either. It's much more toy accurate, even the way they did all the coloring and details. But yeah, that's it pretty much. Unless you guys want to continue talking about Hasbro, you could throw those questions at me and I'll gladly answer them. But let's talk about our sponsors, because they're the good people. Let's talk about Symbiote Studio. Today I'm rocking their Optimus Prime shirt. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. There it is on the bottom left, as well as the other good plush. March is when we're going to be revealing a whole bunch of brand new plush to you guys. We already gave the teaser for early 2024's Ultra Magnus with his Grum face. And of course, the winter collection is still available right now. Winter's almost over, so get it while you can. And of course, all the others, we got a whole bunch more coming. Whole bunch more. In March is when we're going to start rolling those out and really showing all the brand new plushes. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And of course, there's stuff on sale in the other things. Go check those out. Pick up the last of the pins, the pony stuff, the G.I. Joes, the Power Rangers, and everything else. And I think the ponies also have the winter collection too. So check that out. And Toy Armada. Me and Aaron recorded a segment on, I believe it was Tuesday. We recorded something, little something, something. Hopefully, I'll get it done either next week or the week before. I have a convention, so that's obviously going to eat into my weekends, but to do some editing. But we have a really good segment coming out, really good behind the scenes, into the weeds of how a certain line was put together and launched for the world, and the deciding factors behind it, the choices of gimmick and everything. So stay tuned for that one. But in the time, for the time being, we still got the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer's Tidal Wave segment. Go check that out. That's available right now on the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. So go check that out. And of course, go check out on archermonster.com/shop. Go pick up the Art of Transforming Robots Volume 2 Color Edition. Sweet $20 gets you a beautiful book with 36 full color pages of original Transformer art from the era of the man who made it all. And, with some help from some other talented people. Shout out to Eric and all of them. But for an extra $15, you'll also get a custom sketch on the inside of your choice. And of course, Aaron has some brand new. Here's some brand new stuff on Aaron's store right now. If you want to pick up some beautiful original art, we got a Armada Megatron. We got a Dark of the Moon Shockwave. We got a absolutely beautiful Beast Machines Optimus Primal. We got a Transformers animated Derek Wyatt style Snarl. And oddly enough, it was called Snarl, even though it was the Triceratops. But they couldn't call it Slug because Slug wasn't a thing yet. They couldn't call it Slag because they didn't want to do Slag. And now Proto Man owns Slag because that's just how it is. But yeah, Snarl, own that one. You got Cyclonus. You got my favorite movie Megatron design, the Dark of the Moon cloaked version. Beautiful stuff. Go check it out. archermonster.com/shop. Beautiful stuff indeed. Yeah, go check it out. We got a super chat from Cringe McCringold's 2007 movie movie Optimus plush. When? I don't know. You can make some make some suggestions to Symbiote Studios and let them know who you would like to see. A lot of people keep suggesting G1 stuff. I mean, that's kind of why the Dinobots and Slag over here kind of happened, because people really wanted to have Dinobot plushes. And I'll tell you, as someone who's been to Transformer conventions since 2001, whenever you have custom indie plush creators and they ask a lot of money for their plushes. They did very well, and it's mostly G1, so I'm pretty sure if there was like a huge demand for like Shattered Glass or Beast Wars characters, I'm pretty sure someone would have taken advantage of that. I mean, I think I kind of like a Cheetor, I guess, me personally, maybe a Cheetor or a Dinobot. Yeah, like a Dinobot, like robot mode plush. That'd be pretty cool. But with a little golden disc, you know. But it is what it is. You know what would have been cool? Because a lot of the old Symbiote Studio plushes used to come with pins. It would be a plush Dinobot with two golden disc pins. That'd be pretty cool. Nice little metal pins. But yeah, yeah. It is what it is. The people that buy the plushes seem to really lean more on Generation One, oddly enough. So it is what it is. We also have, before I get into what we got this week, we also have a really good Patreon listener question. And I asked the person who submitted it through Patreon if I could talk about it here on the podcast, because it was a question that if I would have done it as a standalone segment, I wouldn't have been able to use my environment for explanation. And you'll see what I mean. So it comes from my patron, Space Ghostal. And Space Ghostal wanted to know, I got a listener question. Hey, Proto Man, what happens when you run out of space? I know this has been an issue for every collector, but what are your takes on this issue now that it's 2024? Do you sell to make room? Do you back them into the shelves like sardines, or do you box them up and put them in storage to make room? Thanks for doing Prime's work, Space Ghostal. And thank you, Space Ghostal, for being a patron member for all these years. And Space Coastal actually also sent pictures of his collection to give us a bit of a perspective, and quite the unit of a display he has. I love the lighting and everything. Um, but the thing is I'm a bad example, but I do want to kind of like get into that. And the thing is that what happened with me was I used to live with my parents many years ago. I moved in, geez, was it 2008, 2009? I moved. And I used to live with my parents, and my dad's a collector and I'm a collector. He's die-cast cars and vinyl records. I'm this and then some, all the other things too, video games. And space was an issue. We were both converging on, we both started taking over the hallway in the basement and started, like, I had my Armada toys and Energon, and he started bringing in his stuff. And it was just all kind of his books and everything. It was all converging. And, space was running out, and no one could use my advice, because what was my advice? Well, I bought a house, so I don't expect people to do that. But the honest answer is that you have different kinds of situations. The first one is, and I'll use space, like with Space Ghostal, if he's having a space issue, right? The first thing that I would say is you have to right away think about deep shelving. Look, everything looks beautiful, but the reality is when you start having like big collections, you got to kind of push them and sardine them. I hate to say it. Like, to be able to fit like all of Energon, oh, this is Cybertron, or all of Energon, or all of like this entire thing here. This will blow your mind. That's every single Transformers universe 2003 it started. 2003, Aaron, was it 2003 universe 1.0 started? Anyways, that's every universe 2003 figure. I squished them all, but these things are very deep. Like this wall here, I could show you, this is like, it's got to be at least 2 feet deep, because I try to fit as much as I can. My father had these displays of die-cast cars, and they were like this deep, and it was a waste of a wall space. And learning through him that you gotta not waste wall space, make the most of it. Don't eat like posters. No posters. Don't put posters on the wall. Trust me, if I could have utilized this supporting beam here to put more shelving, I would have. You know what I mean? So, and don't worry, guys, I'm gonna get to the other super chats. I'm gonna actually try. I'm gonna slide up here so I don't miss them. It's something where, you know, you have to really like look at your shelving. And I don't want to criticize Space Coastal shelving. It looks gorgeous. But the one thing that you learn very early on, and I learned this early on as a kid through my Marvel Toy Biz toys back in the 90s, which was you could have a really nice display of all your figures posed and battling and stuff. But the second your collection starts growing, you realize that it's not feasible on your bookshelf. And I had like, X-Men Toy Biz and all of that stuff mixed with the Marvel Toy Biz. And, they were all in cool poses. Like, oh, here's like Wolverine fighting against Juggernaut. And here's like Cyclops against Magneto. And they were all in all these cool poses. And then, oh no, Proto Man got some Ultraman figures and more X-Men figures and, Spider-Man figures. And before you knew it, they were running out of space. And then like, oh, there's those old Ninja Turtle toys. And my Transformers were all, again, I had like I had 13 Transformer toys. So they were all in a box. So that's the first option is you got to really think about the shelving that you have. And I know it'd be expensive in the case of Space Coastal here to rebuy brand new shelving. Or alternatively, everything looks like it's nicely posed. I hate with nice lighting. I hate to say it, but you're going to have to squeeze some boys together. You're going to have to squeeze a lot of people together and have them more in a unfortunate uniformic kind of thing going on, where it's just going to be like, yeah, they're just all together. It looks nice in person. It just doesn't photograph nice. When you're in person, it looks like a museum. It looks cool. But when you take photos of it, it doesn't look as cool. It doesn't look as nice, unfortunately. So that's kind of the first thing you'll probably have to do. The second solution, short of buying new shelving or squeezing all your figures together, unfortunately, is putting some stuff in storage. But I have a rule personally that if you want to put it in storage and probably never see it again, it goes to the other part. You might as well just sell it. I mean, unless it's something that's really sentimental to you or something that's like, oh my God, I would never want to get rid of these toys. I love these toys. If like I had friends, I don't want to say his name, local Montrealer, big, big, big toy collector. 50% of his collection is in storage lockers. And they've been sitting there for, gosh, almost like 15 years. And he doesn't even go to it. It's just there. And it's me. I'm just going like, are you going to do anything with that stuff? He's like, yeah, but I like to know it's there. I'm like, yeah, but you're paying money for storage and everything. You might as well sell the stuff, because he's at his limit. He lives in an apartment. He only has so much space, and he kind of doesn't rotate his collection either. Some collectors, they rotate out stuff. There's another local Montrealer, and I'll give a shout out to him because he's really good at it. Camise. There's this guy, Camise, in the Montreal community of toy collectors. He buys stuff. When he gets bored with it, he sells it. And then he loves his Batman. He has his beautiful Batman display. And everything else, he just kind of, oh, hey, I'm going to buy these Mortal Kombat figures. Oh, they don't do it for me anymore. So then he turns around and sells them. He doesn't put them in storage. So you have to have that balance, unfortunately. Short of because the last thing you want to do is do a psycho thing like I did and buy a house for toys. Like, no joke, guys. No one should ever have to do what I do, which is I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to fill 3 out of the 7 rooms in this house that are livable with toys, Like, it's kind of wild. Uh, Aaron made a joke once where it's like, because he was gonna, if he came to stay with me and he'd stay in the guest room, and he made a joke, oh, the Hello Kitty room, which is actually oddly the guest room in our house is where we keep like the Thunderbird toys and a lot of the Marvel trading cards and stuff. Like that's kind of the storage for that. Because this hobby, the rule is it never shrinks, it only grows. It's the literal erection on a exciting night of hobbies. It just never ends, It never ends. Like it's something where what's wild when I think about it is like the Unicron trilogy, like up until 2006. And it was just like, oh, you got like Robot Masters, Titaniums was on the up and up. It was happening, and Universe was a thing. And then those Michael Bay movies came out, and just thousands of products came out. And then everything exploded, and classics exploded, and all that stuff, you know? Cringe McCrim Protoman's telling me not to buy a house. when that's my current. No, I'm not saying. No, I think if you could buy a house, buy a house. I think that's one of the greatest investments you could ever make in your life. If you have the financial opportunities to purchase a house, you should buy a house. But what I'm trying to say is, don't buy a house with the intent of having your collection on display like I am. I was ridiculously irresponsible with that. It was just me going like I've always had a vision in my mind. When I first got the internet back in 1996, which shows how old I am. When I first got the net back in 96, I saw uh, Jay Gherkin's collection of Transformers. He's not part of the fandom anymore. He sold most of his collection. And he was one of the first people who had like a scanner. So he took physical photos and then scanned the photos and showed people his collection. And I saw how his collection was on display, and I was like, I want to do that one day. And then I met the Lucas brothers, Unicron.com, and then they were the ones that had the sliding doors. And they literally, and this was back then, uh, every G1 toy ever made and every Beast Wars toy fit all in one closet. Like they took a closet note like this and they just turned it into a display with lights. And I was like, that's a genius idea. And then I did that on steroids. And the rest was history. I will not end up on Hoarders though. Hoarders is different because like the thing with my house is everything is it's a museum. Everything has order. Hoarders, it's like the floors are a mess and there's stuff everywhere and you can't like move around. Like that's hoarders. And hoarders also are people who can't get rid of things. I buy and sell all the time. Like I have no like emotional attachment to like oh, I'm not going to sell this cell figure. No, I picked this up recently. This is going to go for sale in a future convention. So it's like me it's different. There's a business aspect to it where 90% of hoarders are not savvy business people, unfortunately. They kind of hold on to everything and not make money from it. Cringe McCringle, well, Proto, I got to say that I finally got the big boy job, so let's hope that I get a house soon. Target is nice, but it doesn't pay well. Well, it's retail. Retail is a job that you start with. I feel that it's good to have a job that's a little rough and low paying because it teaches you how to get a tougher skin and it makes you stronger for the jobs later on. I'm glad that I worked at Burger King for 6 years because it taught me what getting a low paid job and low paid wages, but dealing with the public and dealing with some rowdy people when there's no tomatoes in their Whopper, or when there's no barbecue sauce and they want to kill you and jump over the counter. True story. Um, Great times. I wish there was digital cameras back then. I would have loved to get clips of all of that stuff back then it was still VHS, you know, uh, closed caption, not closed caption, closed circuit, you know? Yeah, it teaches humility. Exactly. Like I think that the big push today, like, oh, even a Burger King job should pay like $20 an hour. It's like, are you crazy? You crazy? Like, come on, man. I worked with those people. I worked with those people. There was a lot of people that I worked with at Burger King. I'm not going to name names, but they didn't deserve even the minimum wage that they were getting paid then. They were just there to show up and get a paycheck and get out of there. And maybe because I took drive-through way too seriously, but they sure as hell didn't. They sure as hell didn't. So I feel that those are starter jobs. They're starter jobs that build character. And then later on, you move on to other things, you know? You move on to other things. And hey, cringe, if you're getting a better job, congratulations to you. You worked the retail game. It taught you probably customer service. It taught you patience. It taught you, the grind of getting paid less. You know, less is more. Ask any rich kid how good they are with money today or how much they appreciate things as opposed to a poor kid that gets the opportunities. It's pretty much how it is. Ninjatron, what are you saying, brother? Hey, I apologize on the barbecue sauce. No, it's man, that was a while. Like I might as well tell the story for some people who are wondering. What happened was is I worked drive through. I never worked the front. My job was drive through. I spoke French and English perfectly because I spoke French and English perfectly, and I also was magically able to understand. Like I was able to understand what people were saying over the microphone very easily, so I was very good at it. So they kept me in drive through, and they loved it there. They love that I stayed there because everyone hated drive-through. They thought it was the worst job, and I kind of understand. I mean, it sucks in winter opening that cold window and stuff, but I liked it. It was fun, but I never worked the front. And then one time I was just walking out of drive-through to the front, and some guy's like, "Yeah, can I get some barbecue sauce?" And then I looked like under the thing, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, sir, there's no more barbecue sauce, and I don't have any in drive-through either." He's like, "You're joking, right?" I'm like, "No, sir, we're joking." And then he jumped the counter, like as if he was like in a rage of anger. And before he got over, my manager Lionel, shout out to Lionel, he's like this like stocky Haitian guy, just like tackled him, and it was just like wild. I was like, oh my, this would have, if it would have been today, that would have been a clip on TikTok or something. It would have been some kind of TikTok clip where it's like, and it would have been like, subtitle like, guy really wants barbecue sauce and just gets tackled, you know? Like if it would have existed back then, I would have been viral. Burger King had crazy stories, but that's working in fast food. Fast food for Fast food consists of people who are high getting a Whopper at 2 a.m. in the morning, children, and, and people that are just really angry, We used to joke like Friday and Thursdays were when people would get their welfare checks and we would get tons of customers, you know? And keep in mind, fast food in Canada is way more expensive than the States, so to eat fast food is stupid in Canada. It's a waste of money. It's ridiculously expensive. I can't stress that enough. That's why when I go to the States and I buy chicken McNuggets, I'm always surprised how cheap it is. Uh, Link CW, I live in a tourist town, no big boy jobs, just retail and junk. Well, yeah, that's, you know what? I feel you. That's when you live in those smaller towns and that was my father. My father, like if you look at your map of North America, here is Quebec. Quebec is that weird shaped thing at the top of North America that's shaped like a hand. Here's Montreal. My father lived all the way in the little French rednecky town of, Gaspésie. He lived in this little farm town of nothing. But my dad didn't want to be a farmer or a log rider or anything like that. He wanted to do well. So he traveled all the way 8, 9 hours to Montreal, the most hoppinest, hippest, coolest city in all of Canada, in my opinion. I'll fight you, Toronto, you know? And he got a Bachelor of Science. He went to university there. Sometimes, unfortunately, you got to move, you know? You got to move sometimes. Look, you could love your family and everything, but if you're in a situation where you have to move in order for work, it's just unfortunately the reality of life, you know? Unless you're just cool with, your surroundings and stuff. But there's such a bigger world out there. There's so many cool places to check out, to be stuck in a bubble. I would almost feel sorry for you. Ron Diaz, I used to work at Toys R Us, and at times I was collecting the Lord of the Rings figures. They are still great. Oh, you're talking about, well, yeah, those are really nice ones, eh? What company did those? Those are really cool. Those are the ones that like the green packaging, right? I remember my friend had the Gandalf one for the longest time. He was so proud of that one, the Gandalf, the white one, because he thought it was so beautiful. And he was a huge Lord of the Rings guy. James Hobson, don't forget the Friday and Saturday night drunks. Oh, well, Fridays at Burger King was Fish Friday. That was like on sale. So we used to get tons of Indian people that would come by because they would never order, like beef and stuff like that, but they loved our fish burger. And honestly, I didn't like our fish burger. I didn't think it was that good. The best thing that Burger King did, in my opinion, was the Whopper Jr. and the chicken sandwich. Those were the two best things. Even the Whopper, I wasn't a fan of because I always felt it didn't get cooked properly. That's a little insight on that one. Don't buy a Whopper. If you eat a Whopper and your stomach hurts, now you know why. Um, it's too big. It's too big. It's a frozen patty. It's too big, and it's a machine that automatically cooks it. And I feel that while the Junior gets cooked properly, I find that the Whopper itself doesn't. And that's just my opinion. A little too bloody for me. Um, Prince of Alex 59, working in skill labor is the best way to go. Thank you, sir. Mechanic, electrician, plumber. My grandfather was a mechanic. Man made amazing money. Dude made amazing money. He fed his whole family as a plumber. My father did construction, you know? It's something where, you got to, those are trades and skills like that you don't like it's crazy. Like you leave high school, you go into a skill like trades or welding or electrician, you graduate in less than 2 or 3 years out of high school. You're making insane money. You will be a homeowner in no time. While on all your friends, and I'm not saying that college is a bad thing, but I'm just saying you'll be good. You'll be good. And don't worry about the pride of not having a college degree. I have a college degree. It's not worth anything. Okay. It's not worth anything. I'm not even in the field that my paper says, you know? So that says how much that does because the world changes so quickly and a paper only means so much. Ron Diaz, I wish I could leave Florida, maybe move to California. Look, you don't have to move to like you could go to other places in Florida that have higher population, or you could go to places that are closer to Florida of higher population. You go to different places in Texas, you know. You don't have to go to California per se, but there is other opportunity. And California is expensive too. Florida is a lot cheaper than California. I have friends that live in both, and their decisions were made based on how expensive one region is to the other. So it's something where you got to kind of, you got to, everyone has different goals. That's why I'm not going to tell people how to live their lives. Everyone has different end games. So you got to kind of roll that. Take care, Ninja. But it is what it is. Toy Biz did the Lord of the Rings. Okay, cool. I got it was Toy Biz. They were so nice though. Those are really nice ones. Should have got that human form Sauron figure all those years ago because that one's always been kind of cool from the first movie. Prince of Family 59, myself, I am an electrician. Good for you, my friend. Those are those again. One of TFCon's staff, his father is an electrician. He was an electrician for 6 years under apprentice. Then he was an electrician working for a company for 5 years. Then he opened up his own business and then he bought a $2 million house. So you'd be surprised how much you could go. Same thing. You could be a mechanic. You could be a first year mechanic as an apprentice. Then you work for a garage. Then after a couple of years, you own your own garage. And before you know it, boom, you know, if you have responsibilities and you have dreams, you could do it. That's what I'm saying. James Hopkins, same proto. I have associates in computer networking and I work at a car part plant. Brother, James, computer science, graduated in 2003. You know what I took away from that? I still use the same coding for when I make websites for my conventions and stuff. I could do HTML, I could do C++, I could do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, in the modern world we live in today and how coding is and everything, I don't fit in it. I was also street racing at the time, really loved car mechanics, got into car stuff. Then I remember one day just waking up in the morning, sitting with my pop in the kitchen. It was early in the morning, and he says, why don't you just do car mechanics? You love cars so much. Went into car mechanics, graduated intensive a year and a half, started a Canadian Tire, like a Jiffy Lube place, started Canadian Tire. Then I went to Nissan for my apprenticeship. Then I went to BMW. Boom. Next thing you know, I'm a homeowner, 2 cars in front of the house. That's the reality. While I have friends who went to college, went to university, and they're still living with their parents because they have debt that they need to pay off before they could even think about owning a house. Even think about it. Because there's a lot of debt. You buy all those books, you put it yourself into debt. God forbid you change programs halfway and things didn't work out. Pharmacy tech is good too. That's good money. That's good money. My wife has a friend that's a pharmacy tech, and she does very well. But the 3 guaranteed industries is health, education, and food. The problem is that food doesn't pay well. It's guaranteed. If you work at McDonald's today, you will have that job until you're 90. It'll always exist. You'll never get fired from McDonald's. Food, like supermarkets, all that stuff, food will always exist. It doesn't pay well, but it'll always be guaranteed. Education, teachers, anything like that. Again, pay is debatable depending on what side of the education spectrum you are, but it's always going to be there. There's always going to be education. And health, anything in the health fields. If you're in the health fields, those usually pay better depending on where you are on the spectrum of that. But those always pay better, and they're also guaranteed. So pharmacology, of course. Again, trades are different. Trades are kind of because you got to figure out, do you want to be an electrician? I always say welding. Welding is everyone's sleeping on welding, man. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of guys that went into mechanic school with me because we learned welding in mechanic school for like mufflers and stuff. But a lot of those guys, they parlayed mechanic mufflering just into welding in general, and they do fantastic just doing that alone. Shout out to Joe Marr, my buddy. He does very well with that. You know, pharmacology. Pharmacology is where it's at. Let me tell you. Got my smart card, as one of my prof calls it, in psychology, and went to retail into healthcare. Love what I'm doing with disabled individuals. Hey, if you love your job and you're happy with how you get paid with, that's all the best. There is no expectation for everyone to make a lot of money. By the way, I have super chats I have to answer. I apologize for going on this huge rant, but um, you know, it's something where, if it like, see King here. King says butcher, right? I have a friend Josh, unrelated to the Joshes of the IDW kind. I have a friend Josh locally here. He became a butcher. He worked as a butcher as an apprentice. Then one of the older butchers are like, if you're really serious about this, you could actually go into like a butcher school or something it was. I'm pretty sure King, you could speak of it. And then like you could really take it seriously and go into that. Now he makes really good money, you know? You just got to find your place, and what works for you. So Twins Corner had a super chat. I apologize for being late on these super chats. I even haven't showed the stuff we got today. Like we're really busy today. We're popping, and we got still 40 minutes left. Twins Corner Proto Man with the super chat. Thanks for the update, Proto. Sad to hear. Still hoping we get more reissues. Really hope to see those Combiner, Magnaboss, and Tripredacus. Well, I would hope for updates of Magnaboss and Tripredacus, if anything. I mean, it'd be cool to get those reissues, but at the same time, when you want new ones, when you want to see like a new, like a different take on the Ironhide, like elephant, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. And then let's go to the other super chat that I missed. Alden Tolbert with the $2 super chat. G1 Galvatron is another Starscream, but worse. Well, G1 Galvatron from season 3, voiced by Frank Welker, definitely is. When he was voiced by Leonard Nimoy, a little more calm and cool, if anything. But when he was dunked in the lavas of Char, that's a different story. Twins Corner again with the super chat. Real quick, we plan to get Omega Prime for pre-order. Is the payment immediately or upon release? No, unfortunately, the moment it ends, they charge you. They take that money right away, and then they sit on it for a year, and then they probably invest it somewhere and make tons of money on it. And trust me, it's unfortunately oh, I wish I had let me get my calculator. So let's just for fun, right? We'll do some Proto Man math right now. So let's say for fun, let's say Omega Prime ends at 20,000 units sold, right? And they're asking 250, right? When it's all said and done. So that means they get $5 million. The moment the listing ends, they get $5 million. And you think they're going to put that $5 million like, nickel and dimed into it? No, it goes into their account. Their dudes invest the money and stuff. They do their own things with that $5 million. And before we even get the toy, they turn that $5 million into $12 million, with insider trading. But that's a whole other conversation. Allegedly. Where are we at here? Eyes on Ace. Welding is good. Be careful. With Uncle messed his lungs and passed away a few years ago. Well, you got to be careful. It's the same thing. Look, as a car mechanic, when you're dealing with brakes, you got to be careful with it. Any job that's a trade, you also have to be smart with it. Like, I look at guys who do like yard work and stuff like that, or people who do like God, what's the term for yard work? Oh my God, there's a term for it. But like people who do mowing lawns and stuff like that. You're behind a diesel or a gas engine the whole time as you're breathing that in directly. Those are jobs that don't pay well and are really not good for your health. So you gotta be kind of smart. I think it's landscaping. Landscaping, I think, is the term. Prince of Phalanx 59, when do you think HasLab will hit 16,000? I wouldn't be surprised if it hits it before the end of next week, judging by how quickly everything's going. Landscaping, there you go. Thank you, Princeton. I think it's going to hit it probably. I mean, the way it's been going, it's been about like 1,000 every 3 days. So if it continues that trajectory, Link CW can't do HasLab this time. No money, lost a job. Well, brother, hope you get back on your feet and find something. I always say every day that you're not out looking for a job is a missed opportunity. Even me getting my job at Burger King. I just woke up one day and I was just like, you know what? I need to get a job. And I went to a supermarket, and the hours that they wanted was like, forget about it. It was like they wanted me to work like weekends and night shifts and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. Because when you're the new guy, they always give you. And then I went to a bunch of other places, and then my buddies were working at Burger King, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you go to Burger King?" And I tried it, and at the time, I was picking up some Ultimate Muscle figures. I remember that day vividly, leaving Walmart, picking up Ultimate Muscle figures, and applied for the job. I got a call back. They saw that I spoke perfect French and English, which is always an asset, and the rest was history. Not to mention, I showed that I had a good work ethic. I liked doing dishes, which is apparently a lot of people also don't like doing that. So, and yes, there is dishes at Burger King. It's just the stuff that the trays are all in and everything. Ron Diaz with the $2 super chat. I agree. This HasLab is not a good sign for casual. Well, this was a HasLab that was made to make money. This wasn't something that was going to if you look at the past HasLabs of Transformers, they all got funded a couple of days before it ended, And then, of course, after those couple of days that it ended, it also filled all the tiers because then everyone freaks out, But this one is clearly targeting a whole other audience. Take care, Shockwave. See you later, man. JR Mina from the Philippines. Hey, Proto, on a separate note, do you watch the NBA? Yes, I do. Religiously. I can't show it. It's all off camera. I have a whole bunch of mini basketballs off camera. Just curious, who is your bet between Steph Curry and Sabrina in their third-piece showdown? Well, Steph Curry is a machine. You have to understand. Just Google Steph Curry pre-game warm-ups. And we're not talking playoffs. We're not talking, like any kind of clinching playoff kind of game. We're talking just exhibition. This man puts on a show for people. And when you have 3-point showdowns where now you don't have to worry about being guarded by a left-hander on the outside, and you could just kind of work like a Larry Bird, my boy, and just kind of work. And Steph Curry, he gets a trainer and he just works. Just Google that. It is insane. He'll sometimes it's like he's not even trying. He's just and I'm not even a big Steph Curry guy, but I respect this guy has the living embodiment of practice makes perfect. He just practiced until it's perfect to the point that he's doing half court shots like it's nothing. Balls off camera. Balls off camera. I have a whole bunch here. I got a LeBron James here. That one. I got this is one of my favorites. This one when Kobe passed away. Nice little Kobe RIP one there. Got a Jordan, got a Pippen, got a whole bunch of them. But I go with Steph. Steph is a machine. If they built a 3-point machine that never misses, it's Steph Curry. It's crazy. And that's me, who's a huge Larry Bird guy. But I don't think Larry Bird would be able to touch Steph Curry. It's kind of crazy how he is. Yeah. Cringe McCrimgle, as a Cavs fan, I used to hate Steph Curry, but but after growing up, I've got to say that he's absolutely amazing. He's crazy. I'm telling you, you don't have to watch a game, even if you're not a basketball fan. Just type Steph Curry pre-game basketball warm-up. That's it. And just watch what he's doing. And you're just like, oh my God, this guy isn't real. Because he's just like, hit it, hit it, hit it. And then he goes more back, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. And he keeps going back and to the point where he's almost at center court and he's still hitting it. And the audience who's just shuffling in because it's before the game, so not everyone's seated yet. And people are losing it in the audience. They're like, oh my God, you know? He's amazing. He's amazing. James Hopkins, well, in Zoom meetings, balls off camera means you're just not wearing pants. Well, I'm wearing pants, so I apologize. Jeans. So, jeans. I apologize for not being the proto ball man. So let's show what I got. I didn't get much this week, but I keep forgetting to kind of show that stuff. So I got a gravity bot rescue bot. It's the ones where you kind of like, oh, oh, oh. Got that one for $1. There's an antique store near my place. They always get rescue bots. That's why you're seeing a lot of rescue bot stuff for me. So $1. Can't go wrong with that. One piece of the Combiner Bumblebee from Combiner Force. So one day I'll get all the pieces for this, but hey, 50 cents. Can't go wrong with that. And for $0.25, it's Cody Burns from Rescue Bots. That's it. That's all I got Transformer stuff this week. I also got some non-Transformer stuff, Perfect Cell and a few other things I picked up. I pick up little things here and there that I feel have like a good value. And when you run and you do conventions, that's the hustle, Prince of Phalanx 59. I used to be into the NBA, but got back in the 80s and 90s. MJ was the GOAT. MJ still is the GOAT. Look, I respect LeBron James, but he's not a psycho like Michael Jordan. LeBron James is a physically gifted athlete that is really good at basketball. Michael Jeffrey Jordan is, in any other lifetime, a psychopath. He is a psycho. He is a man that is deranged. He is the kind of person that if you stole his lunch, he will murder you. And he will murder you in the worst way. And somehow that man took all of that energy and put that into basketball and competitiveness. And that's the man we have today. And that's why if LeBron James played against Michael Jordan today, LeBron would dunk on him once. Michael would take that personally and figure out a way to destroy this human being. I'm telling you, Michael is a nutcase, and that's why he would win, and that's why he's the greatest of all time. That'll always be how it is. Do LeBron James fans bother me? No, you're allowed. Look, I think my favorite basketball player of all time is Larry Bird. And it's not just because I'm white, it's because he was amazing in the 80s and I love Magic Johnson. Like, let me get my Magic Johnson ball over here too, like, with the Lakers and everything. Like, I love Magic Johnson also. It's just that during the early 80s, like the Lakers and the Celtics, like Larry Bird was incredible and Magic Johnson was incredible. And then, but I will admit it, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time. Like, you can't even touch him, you know? LeBron James to me is Shaq level. Like, when I look at, like, if you watched basketball in the late 90s, early 2000s, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, you look at how Shaq used to play. Big, physical, dominant player. That's who LeBron James is. He's Shaq level. But Shaq couldn't beat Michael Jordan. And that's the difference. Why is everyone talking about LeBron James? Because unlike Michael Jordan, who checked out early, LeBron's sticking around. He's the Gordie Howe, for hockey terms, he's the Gordie Howe of the NBA, a guy who was very good at his sport and stuck around for a very long time. And that's what keeps those numbers up, But no offense, I think LeBron's a great basketball player, but I don't even think he's in my top 5. I don't think so. Not in my opinion. I think there's guys that probably would give LeBron a difficult time. And he's playing a different kind of basketball game. It's not the same kind of basketball. There's no hip check. They don't let you touch people anymore. So LeBron probably wouldn't do well in like an era where Larry Bird would have been insulting his mother and then you'd have like Dennis Rodman who'd be touching him, pulling on his shirt. Like LeBron would be going for a rebound, and like Dennis Rodman would probably be pulling on his jersey, and then like it would be a completely different game for him, and he wouldn't like it. He wouldn't like it. It's a different animal. It's hard to compare the two eras because Jordan's era was very physical. Jordan didn't win a single championship when Larry Bird was active because he couldn't. He couldn't get past the Celtics. Michael Jordan scored 60 points in one game and still lost against the Celtics. Just to give you how crazy. He scored 60 points in one game and still lost against the Celtics. Kobe's amazing. Kobe's another dude too that was Jordan worthy in my opinion. Like in that level, in that another guy that's like a psychopath, but and I mean that in the best way. They're talking about the 80s Flash Gordon. I guess they're trying to shift the subject. I love the 80s Flash Gordon. You want to watch something good, Flash Gordon? Watch the animation Flash Gordon. I believe it was in the 70s. I think it was. It was done by Filmation. Fantastic stuff. It's like watching He-Man episodes, but with Flash Gordon. It's really good. 90s Flash Gordon was good too. Good toys. They made Ming the Merciless look like Piccolo from Dragon Ball. Prince of Falcon 69, I'll watch Flash Gordon movie, my mistake, autocorrect phone. I assume that's what you were talking about. Yeah, Bulls couldn't get past the Pistons. You're talking Isaiah Thomas, like, geez, like it was a different time. Like, but Jordan, man, like once he was a little more free and he had Scottie Pippen, it really made a difference. Really made a difference. But Jordan is a psychopath because even when he wasn't winning championships, he was posting up numbers that made you go like, what the hell is going on? Like Larry Bird said himself, he said that when Jordan got beat by Larry Bird even said himself, even winning against him, he's like, that's God in Michael Jordan's body. Like no one plays like that and loses like Michael Jordan because he's a psychopath. And I don't see that in LeBron James. LeBron James surrounded himself with a lot of really good people, and I'm not taking it away from him. But he doesn't have that killer instinct. And that's very important in a sport like basketball, especially in the 80s and 90s, where you had to have that. Are you talking about Defenders of the Earth? No, not Defenders of the Earth. There was an animated Flash Gordon movie that was, I'm pretty sure it was done by Filmation. Movie. If Defenders of the Earth was a TV series. Defenders of the Earth. But yeah, doing a lot of not super chat questions today. I apologize for that. My green names. But yeah, it is what it is. How much time we got left? Oh, we still got time. We got 22 minutes left in the live stream. Let's get some more super chats out here. In the meantime, get some more good questions. Everyone, now we're at the point now. We get in the later half of the live stream where we talk about anything but Transformers. We start talking about food and life and living and enjoying the greatness of it. Enjoying all the good stuff. Let me just see if I missed any green questions. Jimmy K. Pointsester used to be an NBA fan. I guess the Sonics. Used to like the Sonics. I was, I was all over the place in the 80s. I was a Celtics guy with a little bit of Lakers because I just loved watching their games. Then obviously, I lived the Jordan era, and it was just incredible what Michael was doing during that time. I was a big fan of the Charlotte Hornets. They had a lot of really good people on there too. And then man, back to the Lakers in the late 90s, early 2000s with Shaq and Kobe. Good Lord. If I had to pick a team today, I still kind of root for the Celtics a little bit. I really like the Toronto Raptors. They won a championship not too long ago, and I've always kind of hoped that they, achieve that glory again for a Canadian team to post up anywhere in the NBA. that's kind of a bias, I guess. Hey, Montreal, we should get a team, you know. But 70s, 80s, and 90s were good eras. Seems that the 2000s has taken sideways turn. Well, it's because they changed the rules. Things got a little different. People got soft. It's the sad truth with some sports. That's why I like hockey. Hockey has more or less been the same for almost 100 years. It's a very physical sport, and if you don't like it, there's soccer. Prince of Phalanx 59. What's for dinner, Proto? We went to, because Chinese New Year just passed, we went to the Chinese supermarket. They were clearing out a whole bunch of their stuff, and they were also doing a whole bunch of, end of Chinese New Year food and everything. We picked up a whole bunch of Chinese buns and rolls and chicken and all kinds of stuff. Tons of things. I don't even know what I'm going to start and have tonight, but I have like this Chinese cheese bread, like it's like a huge one. It's almost like a Subway sandwich. I'm probably going to have that. I got a coconut one too. It's really good. They're so unhealthy for you because they're filled with oil and everything, but figured why not? You know, you live only once, might as well have it at the end of the year of Chinese New Year. So I picked up a whole bunch of that stuff. We picked up a Costco chicken yesterday. I haven't finished that, so I might also maybe take some of that too. It's very buttery, but we'll see. It's going to be a mixture of that kind of stuff with a side of orange juice and some bok choy and greens and everything, some rice. T-Formers 2002. Did you get BMAX post off Instagram about getting a weekly TF reveals in March for the 40th? Well, that'd be great. I mean, if BMAC is down for doing that, did he post that recently? I have to talk to BMAC. He has to send me something. Something BMAC needs to send me in the mail. But yeah, that's cool if he does that. Hey man, keep us always in the interest. And I told you, if you keep Transformers always having new news every week, it keeps the interest going. You can't do like, just hey, here's a big reveal once a month, because eyeballs move, you know. Hey, wow, that's great Transformer product. 3 days later, are they still going, oh yeah, 1 week later, oh hey, what's this Marvel stuff? Oh hey, maybe Bakugan. Oh, maybe Beyblade. Then they go to other companies. You got to keep the interest. Got to keep it going. Where are we at? Where are we at? Is Knickerbocker's team still around? Oh boy, I don't know. That's a good question. What would a Montreal basketball team be named? You know what? I've always thought about that and I can't come up with an answer because what does Toronto mean with like Raptors? Toronto Raptors only got their name because around the time Jurassic Park came out, Velociraptors were a cool thing now. And so they're just like, let's just do Toronto Raptors, even though I guarantee there probably never was a dinosaur found in Toronto soil. So it was just like a fossil by any means. So it's just like, it could be whatever. You could be ironic, the Montreal poutines, the Montreal cheese curds, or they could just do whatever, you know. They could just do whatever. The icebergs, the snowflakes. Actually, that sounds kind of negative, but like that would be like on the nose, but what does Toronto have to do with dinosaurs, So you just find a cool animal. See, I knew. Timmy said Montreal poutines. I knew it. Beavers. There you go. Again, you could go for the on the nose, thing, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, BC Grizzlies. Like what is yeah? I guess there's bears out there, but there's bears in Quebec too. So it could be anything. It could be anything. You know. Your guess is as good as mine. Your answer is as good as mine because it could be anything. As long as it makes a cool logo. That's what I always say. If it makes a cool logo, like if they called it like, the Montreal Racers, and they put a cool race car or something. And it's like a race car where like the engine is a basketball or, like it would make just as much sense as anything else, VCXZ joins the mini cons. Thank you, VCX, for joining. And Horned Owl, has there ever been a TF with a Dikotoro alt mode? I have no idea what you're talking about. Dikotoro? Is that an animal? Is that a car? I've never heard of a car, unless you're saying the Japanese term for it. Is that a plane? I am unfamiliar with that. Horned owl. Unfamiliar. Mike Rosens, what do you think of Rock joining the Bloodline? I think that was way too late. The Rock has been putting over Roman Reigns since 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Remember the famous, holding his arm up and doing that? Um, if anything, it's just to put more interest in people wanting to pay attention to WrestleMania that are not normally wrestling fans. That's the only thing. You got to put mainstream stuff. WrestleManias always have some kind of guest celebrities or some kind of, celebrity, match or whatever, just to get those people who normally would not be watching. Vince has been doing it since the beginning, Let's bring in Muhammad Ali, let's bring in Mr. T, let's bring in, these celebrities, going all the way like WrestleMania 1, 5 years later, let's bring in these guys, 10 years later, let's bring who is there? Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement was there, and I think oh God, what's his name? Was also a guest with the mustache actor. Oh God, why am I blanking on him? But he was, the guest announcer for WrestleMania 10. They had some terrible Bill Clinton impersonator that was there too, that I think also used to do SNL skits. Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? Is that the alt mode? That's the car carrier, also known as a Magnus. Is that what a Dakota Toro? Is that like that special Japanese truck? The decorated trucks that truck drivers have. Okay, so you're talking about Japanese truck drivers that have those crazy pimped out trucks and stuff that have all kinds of stuff on them. It's never been done, but I mean, in a lot of ways, I could see a Rodimus mold being that. Has that kind of weird, because they have weird shapes too a lot of the time. Rodimus could be one. You retool a Rodimus. Cyndi Lauper, yeah, WrestleMania 1. That's another one. Cyndi Lauper was there. They always try to, get someone who's current to be part of it. So that way people who are fans of that will maybe engage with it. Like, it's like, imagine if the best equivalency, and maybe people don't want to hear her name because of the Super Bowl, but imagine if Taylor Swift announced that she was going to be in the corner of Asuka in WrestleMania coming up, Like, imagine that, you know? It would be like that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, all the Taylor Swifties would be like, "Oh my God, I got to get WrestleMania." Ah! You know? And then maybe you might get a cut. Look, if millions of Taylor Swift fans watch and 2% of them become wrestling fans, it did what it needed to do. You got to get that fresh audience, those eyeballs that wouldn't have been there. Yeah, Mayweather, Logan Paul, Drew Carey. Oh, yeah, you could go on and on. On and on. Mike Tyson for the start of the Attitude Era. What was it? WrestleMania 14, Mike Tyson. We could go on and on. Mike Tyson was coming off of, leaving boxing and then coming back because he got kicked out for biting Evander Holyfield's ear. You get those hot topics. It's always been like that. And it just so happens that The Rock, who also used to be a wrestler, is also a famous actor. So he's easy to bring in. So you just bring him in. And then people who are fans of Dwayne Johnson, who don't really know who The Rock is, will tune in just for that. It's just a reality. But that's what they always do. Look, Hasbro when they would do their big was it 1020 events or whatever, 1020, 1023, they'll bring in celebrities to like be part of their segments. So that way they get some of that celebrity rub, you know? Prince of Founding 69, Proto, do you think Hasbro will do a combiner this year? Maybe they'll announce a combiner at the end of the year, but the combiner won't come out this year. I think the slots for it aren't available, but it will be, in my opinion. I think it should be Superion, but I don't think it's available yet. Also, MPG is going to be announced, and the next MPG, the next combiner from Masterpiece. So that's another place to look too. They said that in April they're going to be announcing it. Takara said, and I think it was Takara on their YouTube channel for Transformers. They're going to announce it in April, the next MPG release or idea, now that Raiden is done. So we will see. We will see. The only combiner this year would be Dino King. That is correct in a lot of ways. Dino King was our combiner, just in a smaller form. Did you already talk about X-Men 97? No, I did not. My opinions on it. Looks promising. Not a fan of the choice of animation, but at the same time, we are 2 animation generations removed from when the show ended back in 96, 97. Cell animation just doesn't exist anymore. So we went from like if you look at the old X-Men cartoon, and then you look at when they outsourced everything to Korea and it just looked terrible in the last 2 seasons. So then it was already looking pretty rough by 96, 97. When you get into the 2000s, now you go into digital animation, which Transformers Animated was digital animation, which worked for that show, but sometimes it doesn't work. Teen Titans Go. So, then you have like CG. And to me, I find that CG is good in certain circumstances when you're not trying to be an absolute cheapskate about it. And the problem is X-Men 97 is doing the cheapskate way of CG, which is queue up a whole bunch of animation models that are stiff like crazy, that probably aren't going to have a lot of emoting in the face, which is going to drive me nuts. And because it's CG, just like the Transformer, Prime War stuff, not Prime War, War for Cybertron trilogy stuff, you're going to see a lot of weird background recolor characters, and they're not going to be able to do crowd shots properly. So there's a big negative with that. Who knows? Maybe the story is going to be good. I will say, Cal Dude, the voice of Wolverine, man, his voice is gone. He doesn't sound anything like he used to. Norm Spencer, who was the voice of Cyclops, he kept his voice. What's her name? Who was Rogue? Her voice is still pretty good. Some people, their voices have held out throughout the years, but man, Wolverine sounds funky now. And I got to meet Cal. He was at a Canadian one day show not too long ago, but he didn't do the voice in front of everybody, so I didn't know how different it's been since then. Unless they got a different actor. I don't know. Did I miss something? But the animation looks terrible. It looks really bad. But in the flip side of it is they don't want to do cell animation today. That's the problem. They don't want to do cell animation. They're doing this on the cheap. And it's just Disney being Disney. I think personally, um, maybe this didn't even need to exist. It's cool that they're doing it. I love the old Fox X-Men cartoon. It's very important to me, the Fox X-Men cartoon. But at the same time, if they were going to do it like this, maybe not do it at all. I don't know. I have to see it. Maybe I'm going to be wrong, and maybe, it's something where it'll turn out great. And the animation will be, something that you could ignore, and the story is so good that it'll be worth it. And they're going in the Magneto route where he takes over the school, and that's like, the 80s kind of X-Men when Magneto became the headmaster. They're kind of going in that route. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see. A lot of the negativity I was seeing about Morph. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this 100%. Morph has always been a weirdo. Go back and watch the old cartoon. Um, Morph has always been a weird dude. Just think about the fact that when Morph came back after he was dead, he turned into Rogue and tried to seduce Gambit. So he's always been a bit of a weird one. So him and all the gender crazy stuff that people are going crazy over, which who cares? I honestly don't care. Get all worked up over that stuff. But I will say this, Morph has always been weird. And guess what? They're staying true to it. He's still weird. That's all I'm going to say. Norm Spencer passed away in 20. So wait, hold on. Then who am I thinking? Damn, who am I thinking then? Who's the voice of Cyclops? Ray Chase, the original VA, passed away. He's pretty on point. Oh, okay. There you go. Well, that's why, because whoever they got to play Cyclops sounds like Norm. Norm passed away, really? Man, 2020. Jeez. Norm passed away. That sucks. Oh, well. There you go. But man, he hits it on the head though. It sounds really good. Twin Corners with the super chat. Who's the best channel for third-party Transformers? I don't really watch toy reviewers, but I will say that Bobby Skullface, who's a friend, talks a lot about third-party stuff. So I'm assuming Bobby's doing a really good job at it. I love Bobby as a person. Bobby's a really cool dude, you know. But he's a friend though. I don't really like. I've never really watched his content. I watched like he did a rap video or sometimes, and I dug that. Bobby's a really cool guy. You know, he comes from that Street Fighter Skullomania background. But he's a big third party dude, so I would imagine he'd be a good channel for that. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I like Bobby. I like Bobby as a dude. He's a pretty cool guy. So, um, Bobby is very in depth. Okay, perfect. Because I've always seen his collection, and he's almost all in on third party, and he does reviews. So I imagine he hopefully would know his stuff. So he's pretty rad, man. I really like Bobby. He's a good guy. He's like, there's a lot I've met a lot of dudes throughout the years in the fandom, and there's some guys that you meet that they're really good like family men, and they're just good human beings, and he's a really cool dude. He's a really cool guy. I really like him. Um don't be fooled by the mask that he has in all the videos, which is funny because when you I'm surprised that he wears that at cons too. Because when you talk with him, it's like, um I'm gonna watch old episodes. It's man, look, the original X-Men cartoon is amazing. Is amazing. When you get to season 2, season 3, and they start doing Phoenix Saga and all that, fantastic stuff. Prince Phalanx 59 Proto, have you finished watching Attack on Titan? I finished it a while back. I'm rewatching it now with the wife. We're up to season 4 now, which is the last season, so we're almost done. We're at episode 6, just before, I don't want to spoil too much, Warhammer Titan. That's all I'm gonna say. Rewatching it now, and it's kind of wild rewatching it now, knowing what you know when you finish it and then going back. Um, man, all of those intros for the show were all spoilers since day one. Since the first episode, the intros were all spoilers. Man, great show. I love Attack on Titan. Even if you're not an anime fan, what a great show. And a lot of subcontext. Like if you really go deep into the weeds of what I think it's Izama, whoever's the creator, what he's trying to say in the story, it's really deep stuff. Prince of Phalanx 59 TM reviews is good for third party. I'm unfamiliar with TM reviews though, but Jeremina, thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine trailer? Didn't show enough. I'm excited about it, but it didn't show enough to me. I felt it was just, hey, it's Deadpool, hey, it's Deadpool, and then Wolverine at the end. I was kind of hoping they'd show more Wolverine, but I think it's a Super Bowl teaser trailer. They'll show us more later, but I'm excited about it. I liked the last 2 Deadpool movies. I'm not a big Deadpool guy, in all honesty. Not a big Rob Liefeld guy. I like Rob Liefeld as a story, as a person and his story of getting into the industry. That I enjoy more than Deadpool, in all honesty. I've never been a huge Deadpool person, but I love Wolverine, and I'm curious to see Hugh Jackman in the yellow suit, you know? And the last 2 Deadpool movies were very entertaining. So I'm pretty sure this one will be entertaining too. And I probably, like the other 2, will not see it in theaters. I will just find my own way because I'm not going to be giving Disney Marvel any of my money. Ron Diaz, I'm not a He-Man fan, but really enjoyed the Netflix series. Are you referring to the Kevin Smith one? Because there also was that TV series one, which I believe also was on Netflix, no? What was it called? He-Man Masters S of the Universe? Ryan Reynolds always sells it. Yeah, and Ryan's good. Ryan's entertaining. I liked, what was he did? Fall Guys? That was good too. That was a good movie. Proto, what do you think of Deathstroke Slade? I was a big Titans comic book reader back in the day. Always thought he was kind of creepy in the comics, especially with Terra. Go back and read. I don't want to spoil on 30-year-old comic books, but George Perez, great stuff. His depiction in um, The Suicide Squad movies I wasn't a fan of. His depiction in the Teen Titans cartoon was pretty good, even though it's a little bit of a departure, but the spirit was there. He's good. He's good. He's good. Never been a big fan of the character, but I've always liked the Titan books because I was a big Nightwing guy as a kid. And Nightwing was born out of the Titan books. I believe, if I remember correctly, Nightwing's first appearance was also Deathstroke's first appearance. I think it's the same issue, now that I think about it. Yeah, I think it was. Um, David Quall, Protoman, everyone else, what do you think of Fantastic Four? One of the first comic books I ever owned was the Fantastic Four. I always have a special place for the Thing. The very first comic I ever owned was Fantastic Four number 355, which came out in 1991. And it's the cover with the Thing, and it says "Get Wrecked" or "Wrecked." That was one of the very first comic books I ever owned, and I love the Fantastic Four. I actually, before I ever touched an X-Men comic book or a Spider-Man comic book, I was buying Fantastic Four comic books and renting Fantastic Four VHSs, the one that came with Herbie the robot, that dreadful little robot they used to fight with Thing. I was a big Fantastic Four fan as a kid. I love Silver Surfer, which is part of that world. I love Galactus. I love Thing. I like the original Fantastic Four movies. I thought whatever that actor was there, I think it's with a C as his last name, who played Thing, I think he did a great job. The reveal that they did of the actors for the new Fantastic Four movie, while I think all the other casting is good, I think the Reed Richards guy is not planning for the future, let's put it that way. That actor is pretty old to begin with. So imagine if they do this for 10 years, how old is that guy going to be unless they kill off Reed Richards? Because I think like when you get these new people to get these roles, if these things are successful, they're going to be going for 10 years of movies minimum and crossovers and everything. So you got to like plan ahead for that. You got to get more of a young guy. Even Reed Richards has to have the salt and pepper on the temples and stuff, and maybe Sue needs to be in her 30s or 40s, but you got to plan for the future. You really do. Where are we at? Where are we at? Sarah with the super chat. I came here just to say I'm currently saving for my HasLab Gigatron and HasLab Tankor. Well, Tankor I could see happening again at some point, although we got a great Tankor figure from the Thrilling 30 back in the day. And Gigatron, I mean, the original Gigatron toy is amazing. The original Gigatron, Devil Gigatron is like anyone who doesn't own like RID 2001 Galvatron or Devil Gigatron, like you're doing yourself a disservice, doing yourself a huge disservice because it's a fantastic figure. And the designer of it actually revealed recently some new transformations. I think it was Swan mode or Bird mode he introduced. Like that was in the Sakamoto mangas. Like, what a great figure. What a great figure. Like if they did a HasLab, how much better could it be than the original that was already incredible to begin with? So, oh no, are we almost done? We are done today. Oh crap, we're already at 2 hours. Wow, that flew today, guys. Anyways, guys, we're done, I guess. We're at the 2-hour mark. I got to eat too. I'm starving. But thank you everyone for coming again to the live streams like always. We had a really good one. A lot of good talks today, a lot of good mix of everything. Again, I just want to remind everyone, next week, this Saturday, I will not be doing a live stream. I will be doing it probably on Friday. I'll be doing a Friday night live stream because Saturday and Sunday I'm going to be busy with the cons. So I will not be there. Aaron will probably fill in for the Saturday. So go again, subscribe to Toy Armada so you can get your notification when Aaron goes live on Saturday night. But I will be doing something on Friday. So make a note. What I might also be doing to make up for it, I'll be doing a giveaway. I'll be doing a giveaway on Friday night also. We got some nice donations from Ashnud, so we'll be giving them away to the fans. Thank you, Ashnud, for the donations to be used for giveaways. So we'll be doing some giveaways and stuff like that uh, on Friday. So tune in Friday nights. We'll do it at 8 o'clock also. And we'll try to do a live stream and everything like that. And Saturday night will be Aaron filling in for me. And then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program. Just I have a big convention coming next week. And I would not be able to do this, finish at 10 o'clock p.m., go to bed, wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to get to the convention at like 5, 6. So not happening. I want to be able to survive. But thank you all for the love and support. Thank you everyone who comes by and supports the podcast. Again, Patreon is probably the best way to support us outside of the beautiful super chats. And we get the YouTube members. Here are beautiful green names like Ashnud and James and Patrick and T-Formers 2002 and Timmy K. Point Extra and everyone. On the ones I'm seeing, Mark Rosen and whoever else's names is going to pop up at this moment. But, again, Patreon link is in the description below. If you want to join the Patreon, get you access to the Discord, and where we could tell you about how to get cheap Earthspark product because that's on sale. Um, Cringeman Kringle said the spin changers are on sale at Target right now. So if you want to get cheap spin changers, those are on clearance too for Earthspark. But again, that's Patreon. If Patreon isn't your thing, there's that join button with YouTube, and you could be one of the green names on the side asking the awesome questions this evening. That's another way to support the podcast. Otherwise, just, thank you for all the love and support. Hit that like, subscribe, all those things, share around the videos if you enjoy what we do. Let the fandom know that we're the #1 Transformer podcast in the world, and we have the greatest fans in the world. I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat and hang out, maybe finish some Attack on Titan. I have to play some Switch. I haven't played Switch in 2 days. And I'm out of here. Peace.